Do you work for a company that prides itself with user-centric development, but you think that that is not exactly true or that there is still room for improvement? Well, there is a way to show your colleagues or superiors in a very structured way how your UX efforts are actually doing and what you can do to become even more user-centric. UX maturity models. Hello product people and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mimi and I'm a UX and discovery coach. First of all, what does UX maturity actually mean? UX maturity describes the extent to which an organization has implemented user-centric design in its processes. Different people have already dealt with this topic, which is why there are a variety of models. I want to take one of the most popular ones to show you how you can assess your company's UX maturity and what you can do to improve it. Okay, this is the current UX maturity model of the Norman Nielsen Group. As you can see, it has 6 stages. We'll take a closer look at the individual levels in a moment. They also have added another dimension to the model. They name 4 factors that are responsible for a company's UX maturity. These are strategy, culture, processes, and outcomes. Okay, let's look at the stages in detail. Stage 1 describes a state where UX is not present in companies. This can be, for instance, because there is no UX awareness or knowledge, or because people believe that they do not have to deal with it, that it is not relevant for their own company. Perhaps some individual people are concerned with UX and occasionally try to position it with their colleagues, superiors, or even in management, but these are not heard. This stage is characterized by the fact that there is no UX mindset and no room for it in partly rigid processes. There is no UX budget, no research or design methods are used, and more emphasis is placed on features than on usability. What can we do to lift a company out of this stage? Well, the first thing to do here is to build an understanding of UX. What is UX anyway, and why is it essential for companies to deal with it? Especially key stakeholders should be trained specifically in this area. If you are interested in UX and work in such a company, my tip would be to educate yourself as much as possible and utilize meaningful information from renowned sources. Then try to get to the key people and show them what you have learned with your collected evidence. Of course, it also helps to look for allies at your level and get them on board before joining forces to convince the next level. But I tell you honestly, I think you will need a lot of patience. Let's look at stage 2. Yes, companies at this stage are already implementing UX activities. However, this happens in an unstructured, irregular, and inefficient way and is only driven by individuals. Organization-wide, there is still no understanding of UX at this stage. There is either no or only a small UX budget, and the users are still not part of the strategy. The value and importance of UX are not understood in the company. Individuals want UX to be established, but how projects are implemented is very inconsistent. And of course, there is not much experience with UX methods if they are applied. The results are accordingly of inferior quality. What can you do at this level to improve the maturity? Well, I think the main thing here is to make the value and importance of UX known in the company. And here it is not only the management level, but all colleagues. For instance, you can plan small talks in which you communicate the basics of UX and try to use office grapevine. Use the fire inside you, because I assume you are on fire for UX, and infect your colleagues with a chat at the coffee machine. Again, you won't be successful right away after a few weeks, but patience and perseverance will certainly pay off. What about stage 3? At this stage, companies already have individual dedicated UX roles in place. However, how UX is integrated differs from team to team, so the results are inconsistent. Many managers still see UX as nice to have and have to be persuaded for every single step or innovation. In these companies, user-centered design is already in use but not yet part of the strategy. The UX activities used are often ad hoc and reactive. The UX value is still not anchored in the company culture, so only the number of individual UX evangelists has increased. The skill sets of the UX people are generally still immature because senior UX professionals do not want to work in these companies. There are also no uniform design standards, principles, or processes. Each team works the way that works best for them. What can you do to help improve at this stage? Bring together all the other people who are passionate about the topic. Build a UX culture in the company together. If it doesn't come from the top, it has to come from the bottom. Unite, not as a front, but as a movement. For instance, you can arrange a regular meeting to share challenges and successes and plan together how to gradually bring more and more people on board. Okay, with stage 4, we move into the upper half. This is where the companies that have recognized the value of UX start to line up. There are already one or more UX teams dedicated to the topic here. Management also supports UX efforts, and some of them even find their way into the company strategy. Here, user research is now used in the complete product development cycle, and design is understood and considered necessary throughout the company. By the way, I believe most of the companies I have worked for were at this stage. Decisive for the stage 4 classification is undoubtedly the following point. Planning still happens based on business metrics, not on user needs. How can you still initiate optimization? At this stage, you are definitely no longer alone. Of course, it is always important to advertise within the company, but I think that from now on, it is also very much about internal team processes. Make sure you develop uniform procedures, guidelines, systems, and processes to put consistent designs and UX on the road, company-wide and across teams. So, what can be even better at stage 5? In companies at this stage, UX is used efficiently and effectively with a solid focus on the users. They are very innovative, and sometimes new trends and methods emerge from these companies. User centricity is definitely part of the company's vision. UX is respected and supported throughout the company and used in all projects. There are established processes, methods, and defined UX metrics to measure success. It is worth looking at the company's success metrics to further increase the UX maturity at this stage. Is UX really already integrated here? And if so, can't there be more? Now, how can it get even better? The Norman Nielsen Group says that stage 6 is the ultimate maturity goal, but it is tough to achieve and challenging to maintain. It includes, for instance, that the vision is built around the users and the entire planning is based on the user's needs and driven by research. The UX processes are constantly looked at and adapted to new circumstances. Cross-functional collaboration is fundamental, and success metrics are based on UX. If you are really at this stage with your company, maybe you wouldn't watch this video if you were, but if you are, then definitely don't slack off now. By the way, the Norman Nielsen Group offers an incredible amount of helpful resources. I highly recommend looking there if you want to learn more on a method or UX topic. You can also take a short quiz directly on their website to determine the UX maturity of your company. I'll include the link in the video description. Why don't you write where your company stands and what you would like to change about it in the comments? I would love to have a conversation with you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please click the like button and share it too. This way you help my channel grow and you also help other people find my content. And if you don't want to miss any of my videos in the future, subscribe to my channel and activate the notifications. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye!